and dance contest, all included in the 5K fundraiser. This event takes place at the Bladensburg Waterfront Park, 4601 Annapolis Road in Bladensburg, Maryland, from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, September 14th. Now, for more details on how to register, visit our website, wpfw.org, or call 202 888 5484. That's 202 888 5484. Meet you at the park on Saturday, September 14th, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. WPFW, making a better world, one broadcast at a time.
Welcome back to Wake Up and Stay Woke. We just had a wonderful conversation with some young people and their professor, who's also young, from Howard University. We're going now, and some of the same things we'll talk about, except that we do have some additional things we want to tell you. As many of you may know, the Congressional Black Caucus meets this coming next weekend after this, and there will be a big book signing booth, and I'm very happy about that. I'm always glad when people promote books. I am a writer myself, and I enjoy hearing about what others are doing. So at the Reba Barnes, that you've heard her name a lot because she assists me with finding guests for this program, is going to have a booth at the Congressional Black Caucus, and some of the people who are on will be there with their books. We'll talk a little bit about those as we go along. But we want to get into something else this half hour, in addition, I should say, to this. We know that Jennifer Emery is already on, and she will be staying with us. And the other one is my good friend, Anthony Brogdon, who is with us today. And it's a joy. If you have never been on his program, you've never heard him, you are about to have a history lesson. He does a beautiful he does a beautiful interview, a wonderful interview where he brings out so much Black history. It is unbelievable. He even told me things about my hometown where I grew up that I'd never known. So we're so happy to have him with us this morning. He was, Mr. Brogdon, are you there? We see him on the screen, but we're not hearing him. Let's see. Mr. Brogdon?
Yeah.
Okay, good morning. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, I know that you were educated at the famous Cass Technical High School in Detroit, Michigan. I certainly have been there several times, and I know what a wonderful school it is in Michigan. Now, you've got a radio program, and when I was on your program, as I was saying before you came on, it was a wonderful time. And your program is we call Good Black History, right? That's what you have on the program.
Well,
Because as I was saying,
that's what we talk about, but the title of it is strong.
oh, I know, but you go ahead.
Yeah, strong inspiration.
Yeah, I'd already kind of talked about that. I just wanted to know what you do on that program, because I've been on it now. I know you told me a lot of things, as I was saying, about my hometown, Alexandria, Louisiana, that even I didn't know, but you brought that history out. And that's one of the wonderful things when someone interviews on your program, it is a real experience. And I just say to you, just keep on keeping on. I want to welcome our listeners to Wake Up and Stay Woke. If you're just joining us now, we will be talking with several people. Who else from the second half hour is on?
Hi, it's Tamara Dykes, and I just want to say thank you so much for having me on this program, and to Reba Barnes and Dr. Williams. I really appreciate this and my work. I don't want to spend too much on my bio, but I went to Tuskegee University, so happy to hear the reference to Booker T. Washington by Dr. Elizabeth Clark Lewis there. So yeah, and graduated with chemical engineering alumna from Kansas City, went to Thomas Jefferson School of Law for a stint in California and San Diego, and a local DC author. So I'm really here not to just talk about that, but the exciting news to share that a lot of people don't know. But I wrote 2 books about some hidden Black history, I guess I would call it.
You're not going to talk about that yet. We're going to get to you to talk about that. Okay. You have introduced yourself, and to that, I want to say you graduated from Tuskegee University, which I was going to talk about. I was just there a week ago, and I'm now one of the many people representing my good friend Marilyn Mosby. I don't know if you know her, but she was wrongly prosecuted, and we're trying to get for her pardon. And we will. We're almost at 100,000 votes when people just go to the petition, and I hope you have been or will go to justiceformarilynmosby.com, justiceformarilynmosby.com, and that's everyone on, and then you will sign that petition. She certainly was wrongly prosecuted. She was doing her job, and we want her back on that job. Now, we're gonna, as I said, I was in Tuskegee just last week. We had a wonderful program. I met your new president of the university.
Yes.
I know I'm on the board of Mayor Johnny Ford, who knows a lot about Tuskegee, lives in Tuskegee, has been mayor for 32 years. So I know a lot about Tuskegee.
All right, all right. I'm in good company then. I was a little worried about the
Okay.
Howard. I'm like, hey, I'm here. Okay.
Okay, did I miss someone? As I'm coming back to you though, did I miss anyone else? If not, Mr. Brogdon, you got the floor. Tell us about your work. Tell us about the things we need to know from you.
Oh, well, thank you so very much for this opportunity, and I'll go fast. I am a historian. I'm an author of what I'd like to say America's #1 Black business history book. There it is there. It's titled Black Business Book. Also, I have a children's book titled They Did It. I've done a documentary titled businessintheblack.net. And what I like to talk about and emphasize in my discussions is a good Black history, the term you alluded to earlier. I host a podcast titled Strong Inspirations, where I interview people such as yourself who grace me to tell your stories. People who've written books, people who know of things that have happened, so on and so forth, and other historians, and also people who talk about wellness too, on the show, Strong Inspirations. And it is a podcast that is seen around the world, been doing it almost 4 years now. And I do public speaking. I've been in a number of different cities. I'll be in your city, Washington, D.C., at the Congressional Black Caucus. I'll also speaking in Baltimore while I'm there. And I like to tell people about, in particular, the rise of Black business in America, and a few little known stories where there were enslaved Black people who owned businesses, and they used their money to buy their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And in my book and in the documentary, I cite 30 of them, and in both books.
Well, before we run out of time, I want you to tell our listeners how they can reach you, because you've got so much to offer. I want them to know how to reach you should they want to know more about your books or find out more about what you do. And we'll be back with you in a moment, but go right ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you so very much. And I like that you want to do that. And my website is businessintheblack.net. Businessintheblack.net. There you have all the information. I'm on all the social media, from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter. I even do some TikTok so that people can know about me. Businessintheblack.net.
And we're gonna be back to ask you about your book signing. You mentioned you'd be in Washington, D.C. soon. We want you to talk about that too. But let's go back to you now, Jennifer. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and that's of interest, and at the same time, also give out a way that people can reach you should they want to know more about your work.
Absolutely.
Because it's an interesting story. I read all about it and I love it. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on. Thank you for asking. My name, again, is Jennifer Embry. I am a Miami native. I now live in the greater DC area. I started investing in stocks at a young age, but I really started to wrap my head around it and use it as a cash flowing business, as well as I ultimately ended up retiring just from utilizing the stock market. And that came about because my son got accepted to a finance school for middle school. And one of the things they gave him was a stock account with about $400,000 for him to paper trade or fake trade. And it was a contest. And so I had to figure out how to help him and how to do it. I'm not familiar with you all's background, but traditionally in my household growing up, and any of my other Black friends and their family and relatives, none of us talked about retirement. None of us talked about investing. None of us talked about the stock market or anything like that. So it was kind of learning a new language, but once I did, I really embraced it. So did my son. We started to help people in the community. So in South Florida, I would help the VFWs because at a certain age, the vets get paid out their pension. So we would create a portfolio that would constantly pay them a cash flow. And it was something I did with them, their children, and their children's children. I then branched out to help other nonprofits. So I have courses across the internet, and you can find more information at Cash Flow Stocks on Instagram. So it's the @ symbol, Cash Flow Stocks, and also www.theenrichment, it's MINT, like a minted coin.com. And on there, we have workshops, retreats. We have the ebook, which we'll have at CBC. And that's where you can find me. Hopefully, I'll see you all there. I'm super excited about Miss Dykes's books. I can't wait to get that for my kids. So that's me in a nutshell, and further
Okay, and we are
information
going to mention that booth that you're talking about at CBC, but I need to go now to Tamara
Yes.
Dykes. Tamara,
Yes.
tell us your story, which again was so wonderful, and I want you to succeed in that one because we've had the opportunity to do the statue of Sojourner Truth in the United States Capitol, making her the first Black woman
Yes.
there. I was in charge of that project. So I'm always glad to see others helping us to remember people who've done great things. Go right ahead and do the same. Tell us how we can reach you if listeners want to know more about what you're doing.
Okay, sure. I started, they're under development, but calliisme.com, CAL, and that's 2 I's, IISME.com. That's after my company, California is Me, established 1510, but I shortened it to Cali is Me. So there's 2 I's in there. And all my social media on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn is /California is Me. And I'm also developing queencalafia.com. So and you can also email me if you can't at queenc@calliisme.com. And for any of your older audience listeners out there, you could write me, as actually someone did, at PO Box 25433, Alexandria, Virginia 22313.
You know, tell us the story.
Oh, sure. Okay, cool. Well, where do I begin? I probably should say kind of how I stumbled upon it, because this history really is not taught in our history books. And, I certainly didn't learn it as a child, growing up in a school where I was targeted all the time with racism. So I was, in the Midwest, it's kind of like that. But it's like black or white, and so I was shocked. I was invited out to California actually, and that's how I found out about actually a friend of mine. I call her like my Black Girl Magic sister, after she noticed kind of how I came back from California, and she was like, well, where'd you come back from? Your whole spirit has changed and everything. So then we looked up, we were like, she was like, wow, we need to look. I was like, shrugging, like, oh, California, not like a big deal. And she just noticed my spirit, and she was like, well, we need to look that name up. And, the Library of Congress is here, of course. And, I'm a researcher anyway. And so I just went to town on that. And then in law school, I had 2 choices to go to law school, but since I already found out the meaning of California, these Black, beautiful, strong, robusta cuerpos, bodies, that means strong, robust bodies, beautiful, that were courageous, brave, and they were on an island of gold. They lived on an island. They were peopling this land called California, and this Black women, Amazonian warrior island was ruled by Queen Calafia. And so the two.
And would you spell that for our listeners? Because we're not going to be able to hear the whole story, but I'm going to tell them how they can see more about you and your book.
Sure, yeah. Queen Calafia is spelled Queen and Calafia, Calafia. And she's the Queen of California. Here's my other book that I made, the second book after that, Queen of California, Queen Calafia, Queen of California.
Okay, and you've already told them how they can reach you, but this is a story you have just got to read. You've got to see it. Now, I'm going to tell you where you can see these authors that we've had on this morning, but I want Mr. Brogdon to wrap up and talk about an event he has while I'm here. But let me tell you, first of all, where you can see all of them during the Congressional Black Caucus. There is a booth at the Congressional Black Caucus, which starts next week, and they will be there on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in Exhibit Hall D at the top of the escalator at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, which is located at 801 Mount Vernon Place Northwest here in Washington, D.C. The Authors Circle will be the place to find them, the Authors Circle Literary Stage. They will be panelists there. They'll be talking about all this history that we've had on this morning, and some of them have podcasts, and they'll tell you all about that. For more information, you can reach Reba Barnes, who helps to get these wonderful guests for us. And I'll give you her email if you need more information on how to see these wonderful authors who've been on the last half hour and now. It's Reba, REBA, BARNES at AOL.com. Reba Barnes at AOL.com. And Mr. Bragdon, you're the senior
Yes.
here. I'm going to give you the last few minutes.
I'm the senior. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Well, I'm more
take it.
senior than you. Let's say you're the little senior.
Yeah, okay. See, I'm happy to be alive. However it works. And so I'll be in Washington, D.C. the 11th through the 15th. On the 11th, I'll be speaking in Baltimore, Maryland at Black Minds Matter Conference, which is about educational schools that talk about opportunities for Black students. And then I'll be at the Sandy Springs Museum on the 15th of the week, that's Sunday, from 12:30 to 2 o'clock. And then prior to that, on Saturday, I'll be in Washington, D.C. At a private reception at the home of our illustrious host. I don't know how much more to say about that. Nonetheless,
I want you to know people are already responding to that book signing that you're having, and people will get to learn more about you and your book and meet you in person, as a matter of fact. So just tell them how they can get more information on that.
Okay, you can get more information by going to the website, businessintheblack.net, businessintheblack.net. There you can order the books. There's a link to the podcast. And I have a film coming out this February titled They Did It, about 12 rich Black people who lived in the 1800s and how they defeated racism and slavery to become very wealthy. So I thank you for the opportunity to share this with you all, your listeners and viewers.
Okay, and you've got so much information. I just want you to repeat the way that people can reach you in the next few days, should they be interested in more about your books and also your event while you're here in Washington, D.C.
Yes, it's the website is businessintheblack.net, businessintheblack.net. And it's an acronym because when you're in business, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be in the red. That's a negative cash flow. In the black is where you want to be. So it's businessintheblack.net.
And of course, everybody knows who listens to our program here on WPFW FM 89.3 that streams all over the world. And we do hear from people all over the world. You know how to reach me right here in Washington, D.C. if you have a question about anything on my program. And everybody knows my email because I got thousands to prove it now. Just email me at Dr. Faye, Faye, Williams @gmail.com, Dr. Faye Williams @gmail.com. And I want to give our other guests, did I get to everybody? If you have a story about Dick Gregory, we'd like to quickly hear it. This program is in remembrance of him. Let's start with you, Jennifer.
Thank you for that. It's kind of serendipitous. I had changed my social media all to Black since his passing, my profile, if you go on Facebook, since Dick Gregory's passing, I've had my profile picture as just Black. So Dick Gregory was inspirational to me. I read his autobiography. I was super impressed to learn about his presidential candidacy. Again, to your point, none of that stuff is taught in school. I'm a vegan, so I respected him being, in addition to a Black advocate, a health advocate as well. So he has a lasting legacy in my heart and in my life, and that's the extent of my Dick Gregory.
Wonderful. And I hope to talk with you because I'm on the second edition of my Dick Gregory books. I'd like to talk with you more about that. I was, of course, in the hospital with him that entire week when we knew that he was ill and he passed on. Okay, let's go to our next guest and give us your wrap up. Ms. Dykes?
Yes, sorry, yes. Oh, yeah, I wanted to say about Dick Gregory too. I really heard a lot about him. My dad was always teaching me history and things, him being a historian, but I heard a lot about Dick Gregory when I came to DC. And they were like, man, if he was still alive, he would have loved to know about, this hidden Black queen, Calafia, and would have really done something. And then a couple of people had said they actually met him too, and how he was really inspirational. And we just need more activists, and that's part of my three-pronged solution on ACT, celebrating, educating. We have to, what good is our education if we don't act on it? We need people to take the story, support the story, buy the books, go and teach your kids, and have other people learn. And that's, the art of storytelling is how we really teach the children, and we can carry the Calafia legacy, and hopefully it'll become part of, instead of misrepresented history, it'll be representative of, and part of Black women's identity. And Black people, both, men and women, share this intricate fight, for social justice in America. And I'm hoping that we can, really get that up. And we really do need activists like, Dick Gregory. And it's cool too that he blended his comic side with his intelligence and actually did something. So.
Okay, wonderful story, and I hope you'll call me later so we can talk more about that. His son, Dr. Christian Gregory, works with me, and we're always looking for news stories that maybe we haven't even heard. And of course, Mr. Brogdon, I know you've got a lot of stories you can tell me, not only about Dick Gregory, but about a lot of other people, Mayor Johnny Ford of Tuskegee and others. Give us just, well, actually, we don't have time, but I'll be seeing you soon. I want to thank everybody who's been on, and I sure want to learn more about that queen who should be on that seal of California. Thank you so much. I love you, and I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Love you too.